navigating the Expedia extranet, and modifying and canceling an Expedia reservation. Expedia is one of several online travel agencies, or OTAs, that are partnered with the Sandman Hotel Group. Guests use Expedia to book airline tickets, car rentals, vacation packages, and of course, hotel rooms. To reach as many guests as possible, the Sandman Hotel Group has a presence in several popular third-party booking websites, such as Expedia, Priceline, and Booking.com, and in return for having our rooms on their website, Expedia receives a 25% commission from the Sandman Hotel Group for each reservation booked through their website. The Sandman Hotel Group directly loads its rates onto Expedia, which means that Expedia's rates should always match the rates both in the Sandman website and in Maestro. If at any point a guest calls and mentions that a rate on Expedia is lower than what is on our website, you are allowed to price match the rate once you are able to see the rate on Expedia's website using the same search criteria as the guests. Once you have completed a booking with the price-matched rate, inform a manager right away. Guests will also be able to find our hotel's amenities and policies, which will tell them everything they need to know about the hotel's services. Once again, if you notice that any of this information is inaccurate, let a manager know immediately. When a guest is ready to reserve a room, they have the option to either pay online now or pay later. Depending on what the guest chooses, one of two types of Expedia reservations will be created, and an electronic backup is sent to central reservations. Our properties that are integrated with Expedia will have the reservation automatically appear in Maestro, but for the non-integrated properties, we will need to manually enter these reservations ourselves. Here's an example of the two main types of Expedia reservations. The first is the prepaid Expedia reservation, also known as Expedia Pay, and the second is the Hotel Collects Payment reservations, also known as Hotel Pay. Expedia Pay reservations are bookings which the guest has agreed to pay in advance. Therefore, the guest's credit card when making the reservation will already have been charged by and paid to Expedia. As a result, Expedia will instead send their own virtual credit card to charge instead of the guests. Hotel Pay reservations, on the other hand, are guests who did not agree to prepay Expedia, and thus will provide their own credit card for the hotel to charge instead. These two reservation types have slightly different booking procedures to complete, which I will go into further detail later on in this video. Let's examine the parts of these types of reservations. At the top of the reservation, you will find the reservation status and the property name. The reservation status will indicate either new reservation, change, or cancellation. Underneath that, we have the reservation ID. This is Expedia's reference number, which we will use to search for the reservation in both Maestro and the extranet. Next, we have the guest's name and contact information. Full contact information may not appear on the booking, so you can just put what is mentioned here when entering this into Maestro. Underneath, we have the room type, stay dates, number of guests, and number of nights. Beside that, we have the hotel confirmation number. This will show up on the reservation if the reservation has been previously confirmed on the extranet. We'll find out what that means later on. Afterwards, we have the special requests, which you will add to the services and notes of the Maestro reservation if applicable. Below that, we have the daily rate breakdown, grouped by date and rate amount. This section will mention the date and the day of the week the rate applies to. Just underneath that, you will find the rate code and discount type, which will help us identify which rate type to book into Maestro. To the right of all this are the extra person charges, taxes, and total cost of the reservation. The extra person charges are not automatically included in the daily rate and will need to be manually entered to the daily rate in order to match the final total cost. These charges must be evenly divided into the daily rate by the number of nights the guest is staying. For example, if the reservation was for 2 nights with a daily rate of $100 per night, and the extra person charge was $20, you will then need to add an extra $10 to the $100 daily rate. You can use the total cost here to ensure that you have entered the rates correctly in Maestro. Don't worry if the rate is off by a few cents when you enter the rates. This is usually due to rounding differences between Maestro and Expedia. If the reservation is a prepaid Expedia reservation, it will also include Expedia's virtual credit card details. On the other hand, if it is a hotel collects payment reservation, a credit card will not be provided. We will instead need to retrieve the guest's credit card details from the extranet. Now that you're familiar with how to read the two types of Expedia reservations, let's create one in Maestro. We'll start by entering in an Expedia Pay reservation first. As usual, search for the reservation in Maestro to ensure you aren't entering a duplicate reservation. Once you've confirmed it's not in Maestro, create a new reservation, add the dates, guest name, and the guest type of IDS, which is used for all Expedia Pay reservations, and the number of guests. In general availability, you will then need to select the correct rate type and enter the correct rate amount. Refer to the rate code and discount section of the reservation to determine the correct rate type. All Expedia rate codes, including Hotel Pay, will always contain EXP in the rate code name. However, the CC at the end of the code corresponds to Expedia Pay reservations only. An easy way to differentiate the rate types is by remembering that the Expedia Pay reservation requires Expedia's virtual card, or Expedia's credit card, or EXP CC. Standard 20% discount is the most basic Expedia Pay rate type and will be booked under the EXP ED CC rate type. You may also see Early Bird, which is usually denoted with an EB in the code name. The 72-hour limited time offer sale will begin with LTO instead of EXP. If any contact information is given on the reservation, you will need to enter it into the client profile window. Next, we will need to enter the credit card information. For Expedia credit cards, enter the cardholder name as Expedia Virtual Card. Putting Expedia Room and Taxes Only or Expedia RT Only is also acceptable. Afterwards, we must ensure that the correct source of business is attached. Ensure that the main source of business is always OTA for all Expedia reservations. For Expedia Pay reservations, the subsource should always be EXP ED CC. Next, enter the Expedia reference number into the CRS number field. Not only is entering the Expedia reference number in this field used to search for the reservation in Maestro, but it is also used to properly process and coordinate billing with Expedia. Afterwards, you want to enter in your notes and enter any services if needed. Before you sign off on the PDF and rename the file, we first need to confirm the reservation on the extranet. Be sure to also take note of the Maestro reservation number, since we will need this to confirm the reservation. Just like filling out the CRS number field in Maestro, confirming the reservation on the extranet is a procedure required to coordinate billing between the hotel and Expedia. It is important to confirm each and every Expedia reservation on the extranet. Otherwise, there will be billing issues with Expedia which could create disputes and problems with one of our most trusted business partners. In order to confirm the reservation, let's open up the Expedia extranet in our browser with LastPass. Once you have logged in, search for your property by either scrolling down or entering a keyword in the quick filter field, and then clicking on the hotel name. In the next page, click on Reservations on the navigation panel and select To Confirm. The following screen will display all the reservations pending confirmation. You can click on the headers at the top to quickly filter these reservations to help you find your reservation. I would suggest primarily using either the guest name or the check-in date to filter the bookings. In the event you are unable to find the reservation in the To Confirm page, you can instead click on Search on the side panel to do a more detailed search. In this screen, you can search for any reservation using any of these filters to find your desired reservation. Once you've found your booking, simply enter the Maestro number in the confirmation number field and click Confirm. You will know it's confirmed when the field is no longer selectable. If you accidentally entered the wrong confirmation number, you may click on the pencil icon and you will be able to update the confirmation number. Now that the reservation has been confirmed, sign off on the PDF, then save the file, and rename the file as completed. Great job! You now know how to complete an Expedia Pay reservation. Let's quickly review the steps before moving on to the Hotel Pay reservation. So to enter an Expedia Pay reservation, you will need to enter the dates, guest name, guest type, and the number of guests. Select the rate type and enter the correct rate amount. Enter the guest's contact information. Enter the credit card details with the card name as Expedia Virtual Card. Ensure that the source of business and the subsource are correct. Enter the reference number in the CRS number field. Enter it in your notes. Enter in any services codes. Confirm the reservation on the Expedia extranet, and sign off on the PDF and rename the file as completed. Hotel Pay Expedia reservations are entered in much the same way as an Expedia Pay reservation, with a few key changes in the procedure. First, the guest type for Hotel Pay reservations will always be under leisure. The most common rate type for these reservations is EXP-HP, or Expedia Hotel Pay. The variations for other promotions and rates are similar to the ones mentioned when we were creating the Expedia Pay reservation. As I mentioned before, the credit card will not appear on the backup for Hotel Pay reservations. Therefore, let's search for and open up the reservation in the extranet to find it. Once again, search for your reservation either by using the Search or the To Confirm pages. After you have located your reservation, click on its reference number located on the left-hand side to view the reservation details. As expected, you will be able to find all of the information on your backup on this page. You may also notice that you can confirm this reservation on this screen as well at the very top. Scroll down to the payment section where you will then see a button saying Show Credit Card. Click on this button and a new window will prompt you to enter a password. The password will be the same password used to log into the Expedia extranet. Thanks to LastPass, you can click on the icon that appears at the end of this field and select the Expedia account, and the password will automatically be entered into this field. If for whatever reason this icon does not appear, you can also go into the LastPass vault, find the Expedia extranet account, click on the wrench icon, and then click on the I icon in the password field to review the password. Once you've entered your password, the credit card information will now appear. Please note that due to Expedia's privacy policies, a guest's credit card will only be visible within 3 days after the initial booking of the reservation, and once again on the arrival date of the reservation. The credit card details will not appear for any other dates in between. In the event that the credit card is not available at the time of entering this reservation, you may leave a message for front desk in your notes. Your message should read something along the lines of, "Credit card not available on the extranet at the time of booking. Please obtain from guest at the time of check-in." Back to the reservation. Enter the guest's credit card information into the credit card field. This time, the credit card name will not be Expedia Virtual Card, but the cardholder's name instead. Once the credit card information has been entered, ensure that the same OTA source of business is present, but this time, the subsource should read EXPGPAY. From this point onwards, all other steps remain the same as the hotel pay reservations. Before we move on, here is a handy chart which outlines the differences between Expedia Pay and hotel pay reservations. And here is a chart which summarizes Expedia's reservations as a whole. Now that you understand how to enter an Expedia reservation, let's move on to cancellations and modifications. Both Expedia Pay and Hotel Pay reservations will be handled in the same way. Let's start with cancellations. As mentioned before, canceled bookings will clearly display cancellation on the paperwork backup. If the reservation was previously confirmed on the extranet, a number will appear under the Hotel Confirmation field, which is actually the Maestro number that was entered when confirming the reservation. Use this number to quickly find the reservation in Maestro. Otherwise, you can search for the reservation using the guest name or the Expedia reference number. Once you've pulled up your reservation, simply move your cursor to Cancel Reservation at the very bottom and hit Enter. Hit OK in the next few windows, add your cancellation reason, and hit OK to confirm the cancellation. On the paperwork backup, sign off with the Maestro confirmation number if it is not already provided, the word cancelled, the Maestro cancellation number, and your CRES ID. Once you're finished, rename the file as completed and you're done. Modifications for Expedia will be sent to us with 2 pages and will indicate change on the first page. If you scroll down to the second page, you will see a similar reservation as the original, but this one will include a Summary of Changes section which outlines the modifications to the reservation. You can use these details to make the necessary changes in Maestro to update the booking. However, you might notice that the top half of the reservation also indicates cancelled in this section here. This is because Expedia does not simply modify the reservation on their end, but rather they completely cancel the original booking and create a new one with the updated guest details. This means that the reservation will need to be reconfirmed on the extranet once again. This time around, when you search for the reservation, if you search for it using the reservation ID, you'll find the reservation is cancelled. This is because Expedia has actually assigned a new reference number to the reservation, which will only show up on the extranet. In this case, you will need to find the reservation, but this time matching it with the guest name and the stay dates, since your backup will not match the one on the extranet. However, when you open the reservation on the extranet, you will see something new next to the status. Modified Expedia reservations on the extranet will provide you with a link to the original reservation with the corresponding reference number. If you see that this number matches your paperwork backup, you will know that you have the right booking. On the other hand, when you open the original reservation, you will find a link to the updated booking within the reservation page. Confirm this reservation with your Maestro reservation number and you're done. Congratulations! You now know how to create an Expedia reservation.